Hi everyone, this is Randy Mauldin with Supply Leaders Academy, and thank you for joining for our latest complimentary online training for leadership. This training is going to show you how to adapt your style to whoever you're engaged with. I'm going to show you how to identify their styles. I'm going to show you what to look for exactly to confirm it, and I'm going to show you how to then start to adapt your behavior style to meet their behavior style. So that way you build a collaborative relationship for the long term by aligning your interest with their interest, mainly focusing on their interest. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone who left comments on our videos before. I've read them all and I've interacted with them all, and I really appreciate all your comments and look forward to reading more as we continue to build our relationship with more training just like this. Now let's recap where we are based on the things we've talked about so far. Video 1, we talked about how to get buy-in from anyone. Similar concepts we're going to talk about today, but we're going to go a little bit deeper, and I'm going to give you a very simple 3-step process that you can use to move forward from this day so that you can always align with the person you're looking to work with. The second video, I talked with you about the procurement leadership field and why you need to start adapting and transforming your leadership in a way that takes advantage of all the opportunities in this career field. With this career field expanding and looking for leaders every single day, those who understand how to lead in a way that's not combative and not authoritarian are going to win every single time, because we sit in a role, a supporting role, not a direct action role. We're supporting the people who are getting direct action, and there's a way to do that that constantly builds relationships for the long term, not just with your stakeholders in your organization, but with your vendors, with your colleagues, everyone and anyone that you need to work with. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll start with the video show, or the slideshow, so you can kind of see the slides as we're going through. Not as many slides this time as last time, or the last 2 videos, more interaction with me, but I want to show you, you need to see what's going on so that we can really have fun with this. Okay. As you know, my name's Randy Mauldin, and today we're going to talk about how to engage anyone to get buy-in. What things do you need to do differently so you can start to adapt your strategy? Just like I mentioned in the previous 2 videos, it's all about strategy, not tactics. You're doing things for the long term. You're building relationships so that no matter when you need something or what you need, you have resources available to you to get this stuff done. And it's not about just going and asking. It's going about asking how they are, figuring out what their needs are, and developing a long-term strategy so no matter what you need, when you need it, you have the tools in place to do that. As I mentioned before, my background is 20 years in the Marine Corps, where I spent the first half of my career in many different jobs where I had direct authority. But then the second half, the last part of my career, I was in a lot of positions where I didn't have any direct authority, but I had a lot of accountability. What do I mean by that? I mean that when I had a project or I had to support a project, when they were successful, they were successful. But when there was a failure, they were looking for somebody to blame, that was on me. And I just didn't like doing that. I did not like being a point of blame all the time. So what I started to do, it realized that I had to understand their interest, what they were looking for, and understand what I needed to do to get that information so that whenever they need something, I had it right there. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do in the end. Because our reality is we're constantly jumping through hoops. We're in a constant reactive state, and we want to change that. We'd much rather be in a way where we can always engage our customers and our staff so we can build an effective procurement strategy for the long term. It starts with the mindset. The key to the mindset is really, really simple. We've heard of the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. Treat others how I want to be treated. But now we're going to learn the platinum rule. The platinum rule by Dr. Tony Alessandro. His concept is the platinum rule, where we treat others how they want to be treated. Now this was a huge leap in my mindset when I started to figure this out, and I stopped worrying about trying to make people do what I wanted to do and started to figure out what they wanted and then align what I wanted to get done with what they needed to get done. At first it was an intuitive process. It's where I constantly was working and asking and talking and trying to figure things out, where I still need to work, but my results are much faster now that I've learned the things that we're going to learn here today, and I'm able to implement them consistently and constantly. It's all about mindset. So the key is mindset. Treat others how they want to be treated. And how do we do that? What are we talking about? We want to observe them And this is where you don't need to worry about multiple different leadership styles or behavior styles. This is where you start to observe behavior and mirror that behavior. So we're going to look at their directness. Are they direct in nature? Are they right in your face, asking you questions all the time? Or are they more standoffish, where they like to observe and see what's happening? What's the difference between the two? Are they direct or not direct? That level of engagement, you start to watch that and mirror that. So if they're very direct, you have to be direct back. If you're not direct back, there's a perception of weakness, and you don't want that perception. So it's not that you're engaging them in combat in a way that's going to be negative for both of you. You're just meeting them where they are. You're meeting them where they are. The next thing is openness. So they're direct, and then how open are they? Are they open to understanding and available, and do they love to hug people and meet people and talk about all their feelings all the time? Or are they more closed off and they don't want to tell people what's going on? And depending upon those behavior styles, when we look further in different programs, they'll tell you exactly how to mirror these things. But at this point, we're talking about just some very simple things that you can start doing right now to help bring this concept home and start to implement it. So first is directness, second is openness. How direct are they or indirect are they? How open or closed are they? And based on that observation, you start to adapt based on what they are actually doing. Okay, and that's where we start to use leadership using human behavior, where we adapt what their needs are. And as you start to learn more and more about the different styles and different behavior styles, you'll be able to more quickly adapt so that you can mirror what they're doing, and you may even learn some things to where you can know what they're doing before you ever meet them. And that's always fun and interesting. And then there's also some tools out there you can kind of plug some things in and immediately know what's going on to kind of cut out the guessing. Again, all this is based on research, many years of research that's been proven again and again and again. So I'm not just talking about things that I've learned intuitively. I've been certified as a human behavior expert, so I understand how to use these concepts for the long terms as well. And it's really a three-step process. Three-step process starts, first of all, with the environment. What's going on? Are you in a big concert, or are you in a specific office? Is it a one-on-one conversation, or is it a group setting? What's the environment? That kind of gives you an idea on how do they act in that environment. Are they direct or indirect? Are they open or are they closed? Kind of look at the environment. Some environments are going to push people one way or the other. And then you start to understand what environments they are at their best in. Then you start to make sure you create those environments when they're in those environments so they get help from it. What's their actual behavior when they're in those environments? Are they closed off, sitting in the back? Think about when you go to a concert. When you look at a concert hall and you see people, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people. There's people up front listening to the stage. They're right there in the face of the rock star, and there's people way in the back just enjoying the music. They don't want to be engaged. So think about that behavior. It's like people up front, what are they doing? The people in the back, what are they doing? And then based on where they are, that's what people are finding so they can enjoy the show better, That's what we want to do. And then you want to confirm what you're observing. So you look at the environment, you observe the behavior, and then you confirm, just as I mentioned before, where you confirm by asking questions, and based on questions, observing behavior, based on behavior, asking more questions, where you're constantly confirming. And I want to caution you here. It's not just, when we talk about environment, realize the environment, okay? So that when somebody's in charge, they may turn into a direct person, but in reality, they are more of a steady person or a conscientious person. But when they're in charge, they're direct. That means you need to adapt based on that environment with them. So it's not going to be a one-all, tell-all type thing. It's going to be a constant state of learning and alignment, As you start to learn that and confirm that, you're going to be able to move forward. And that's how you're able to adapt. You're going to adapt on two areas, priority and pace. Priority and pace. So we're starting to observe and learn, and then you're going to ask them, you're going to start to figure out what are their priorities. And their priorities, based on their priorities, you want to meet them there. So if they're focused on task is their highest priority, you want to stay focused on task and you don't want to worry about the relationships. But then if they're relationship focused, then you want to really focus on the relationship, building a relationship, and then get to the task. If they are, if their priority is information, you have to give them information. And you really realize you're not going to move forward until they get that information. You know, so it's really understanding what their priority is. And there's some models when you start to get involved in different programs. A program I'll mention, we'll talk with you about a little bit later, where you can really see this instantly and know what's going on because you understand what their priorities are based on different leadership styles. And then you start to pace them. What I mean by pace them is that you're meeting them where they are. You're going to, if they're fast and moving towards a task, then you've got to be fast and moving towards the task. If they're more slow, relationship building, needing information, then you've got to slow down. If you try to force them beyond that comfort level, they're going to push back and they're not going to trust you or have that strong rapport that you need to keep moving forward. So you're just going to keep moving forward, making things happen for the long term. Let me recap. What we're talking about is it's your job, once you understand these three concepts I've talked about in the last 3 videos, is that your job as a supply leader is going to get easier. It won't seem like work ever again. You're going to start meeting old friends, meeting new friends, because you just want to figure out what their needs are and give it to them. You know, in a way that's good for both of you. Not in a way where you're pushed over, but instead where you're coming together as a group, as a team, in a one-on-one relationship or larger. It's going to be like helping old friends. You're going to have a lot less frustration trying to figure out how to get buy-in for the long term. So what are your next steps? Well, if you share my ultimate goal in making procurement a strategic capability that constantly builds value and builds trust, imagine what an amazing work relationship you can have built into every single project. The power of my upcoming Supply Chain Aces leadership program, we're going to go even deeper into the concept I've discussed over these 3 videos so that you can instantly apply these concepts constantly and consistently. So no matter who you're working with, you're building value for the long term. So when you need something and they need something, you're able to work together to achieve it. Less combative, more working together. You want to change and transform how you're doing business today, which is jumping from fire to fire, constantly reacting, trying to figure things out, to strategic sourcing, where you have time to plan. You're able to understand what their needs are way before they need it, because you're constantly talking, constantly aligning, constantly working to build the relationship. So you're transforming from this world of conflict and jumping through hoops and constantly being told you got to get this yesterday to, hey, things are good. I know what you need. I'm going to have that for you because you need it in 3 months. You don't need it yesterday because we've been talking. We've been building a long-term relationship. It's really a great place to be, and it's really something you want to do. You're going to go away from this constantly reacting and building that team. As I end this video, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. We're going to share with you more about the program where you can get involved to learn more and more about these concepts and start to apply them regularly. Much deeper, much deeper, much more able to help you be successful today. Before that, I'd like to ask you 2 questions based on what you learned over the last 3 videos. Who is your nemesis? Who's the one that's always giving you a hard time no matter what's going on? Whenever you ask something, they say no. Whenever you need something, they go find something else. Who is your nemesis? Then, based on what you've learned over the last 3 videos, how are you changing? How are you adapting to meet them where they need to be? And is it working? Is it somebody that you knew was direct and you've adjusted things to where you're able to meet them where they are and go forward? Are they somebody that's conscientious, need numbers, so you've been giving them numbers and helping them move forward? Somebody that loves relationships, so you're taking the time to get to know them and allow them to get to know you so you have a stronger relationship. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear about it. Tell me more so that you can start to see the value of adapting to this new leadership style in procurement. Again, it's something different, something you haven't been taught in most management courses or leadership courses. It's a way of doing things that helps you be successful. I look forward to seeing you in the next video and sharing with you our new program, Supply Chain Aces, so that you can start to adapt these concepts and using these concepts on a regular basis. Till then, have a great day.